Hello, and welcome to another in a series of talks on Roman roads in Britain. This time we're in the West Country, covering parts of Dorset, Wiltshire and Somerset. Looking at Ivan Margary's map, the roads we'll be looking at are the ones marked 46, 52 and the western part of 45B. What intrigued me were the dotted lines, suggesting there was more to be found, which LiDAR could help with. Ivan Margary received most of his information for Roman roads 46 and 52 from a single book, so I got a copy to find out what was going on. A Lost Roman Road by Bernard Berry is part Roman road book, part walking book. In his time, most of the route of the Roman road was considered lost, apart from a long straight section to the south, leading from Badbury Rings. Bernard's stated methodology was to draw a straight line from the end of the known section at Semley to the south towards the centre of Bath to the north. He would then go on walks to see what he could find along the way. As you can imagine, the true course of the road is not going to be as straight as that. The obvious part of the road to the south starts near the Iron Age fort of Badbury Rings near Shapwick and heads north-northwest. The evidence is strong and well understood, so there is no need to revisit that. Where the difficulties start for Bernard is right where he starts his research, at Semley. His line for the Roman road is the black line, but as you can see, the Roman road is visible on the LiDAR further to the west, though not that much further to the west at the moment. Further north, at the village of East Noyle, the road can be seen clearly in Park Coppice, with Bernard's road course slowly drifting further to the east. The road appears once more on the LiDAR near the Green, before the modern road seems to follow it out through the gap between Cleve Hill and Haddon Hill. Then the road is gone. Once we pass through that gap, we lose the road. There is a slight possibility to the north of Cleve Hill, but given the strength of some of the prehistoric lynchets in the area, it's not particularly convincing. We are also approaching the junction with Ivan Margary's Roman Road 45B, which is nice and clear, but we will come back to that. There is still no sign of the road we've been following, and certainly not on Bernard Berry's route. So I'd like to skip north to the other end of this road, at Bath. Roman Bath, or Aquae Sulis, is famous for the Roman hot spring baths, which you can still visit today, along with the temple to the syncretized Sulis Minerva. We aren't going to be stopping those, as we're interested in the road heading to the southeast, shown as Roman Road 52 on the map. The Roman road is followed by a modern road for a while, but then it starts to appear quite strongly on the LiDAR. This part of the road is well known, but the rest is not. The road continues, somewhat less clearly, past Hinton Charterhouse, broadly following the route of the River Frome. Unfortunately, it peters out in the area of Wolverton, but notice the black line. This is Bernard Berry's line for the road, which just here follows a straight stretch of track, but is not actually the Roman road, despite it being marked as such on Ordnance Survey maps. This red herring has confused researchers for many years, but even with that out of the way, there is still a very large gap between here and where we left off to the south, where the road is not yet visible. So back to the middle again, to look at Roman Road 45B, which heads west from Old Sarum and, according to Ivan Margary, heads towards Charterhouse. This section between Old Sarum and Monkton Deverill is well understood, so I won't go into that here. At Monkton Deverill, we potentially have a crossroads between two Roman roads, plus a river crossing of the River Wylye, so there really should be a substantial Roman settlement. There are a couple of small Roman finds, plus two Roman temples in what could at a stretch be described as the vicinity, but there is not enough to conclude where the north-south road crossed the river. Even the crossing for the east-west road is not clear, with a choice between Monkton Deverill and Kingston Deverill. Instead, let's start looking further to the west where there is something to be found. We start with an aerial photograph showing the side ditches of the Roman road as it heads to the west. The road continues to the west as expected, then heads onto lower ground near Maiden Bradley. But then it takes a sharp turn to the north. It's easy to see with the help of the LiDAR why it's doing this, as it's avoiding a significant amount of slope by taking this route down the hillside. The generally understood route of the road continues straight on, however, so this is a significant deviation. It continues on very weakly, and it's easy to see why this section is not well known. The evidence for the road ends with a couple of aerial photographs. There are some possibilities further on, but we are entering an area that has been heavily damaged by quarrying, and nothing is completely convincing. There is another problem. This new section of road is no longer on the same alignment as the known section heading west towards Charterhouse. They seem to head past each other. Evidence of both roads disappears. The road to Charterhouse is clear and already well understood, so I won't look at that in any detail, apart from to note that it is strange that such a clear road suddenly becomes very unclear at its eastern end. Charterhouse itself is very interesting. The Romans were mining galena here for the lead and silver. The archaeology is well preserved, and you can still see much of the occupation on the site, which included 2 forts and an amphitheatre. The route west from here is not well understood. There are several tracks visible crossing the site, so I've highlighted the track I think is most likely to be the main road through to the west. To the west of Charterhouse, the terrain starts to get difficult, and the route is not completely clear in places. This is my best guess based on the LiDAR. Part of the road has been found at Star using geophysics. It seems to be heading for Banwell, where we find a significant spread of Roman settlement, with more lead mining, a villa and possibly a port near the low-lying ground. That's the end of that Roman road, at least as far as I know, but I have one more road to show you. Back to the strange dogleg in Roman Road 45B, which is about to get even stranger. To the south of both parts of Roman Road 45B is potentially another new road, again heading past the known route to Charterhouse, so let's look at that in a bit more detail. It starts off quite clear, heading dead straight across the hills southwest of Wanstrow, mostly as a worn cut but with a single piece of agger visible. As it leaves the hills around Upton Noble, it makes a slight turn to the south and becomes less clear as it gets more arable. Then there is another clear section as it climbs towards the hills near Kilmington, and a modern trackway seems to follow it before the route appears again on the LiDAR descending the hills on the other side. We then lose it at Gasper as it crosses a stream before picking it up again at Zeals. As it heads past Huntingford, it is followed for a while by the county boundary between Dorset and Wiltshire, with some clear sections of agger around the River Loddon. It then turns east as it climbs over more hills near Copler Ridge, this time followed by modern roads and field boundaries. We then come full circle back to Semley, where Bernard Berry started looking for the Roman road to Bath. The junction between roads here is because the road heading north has left the high ground around Cranbourne Chase and can more easily branch off to other destinations. So this is where things stand in the area. Knowledge of the Roman road network in this area is somewhat more complete due to the advancement of technology since the days of Bernard Berry, but there are still loose ends to be tied up. Thank you for watching my talk, and see you again next time.